Toxicity in sports.
Person said, I was red.
A call for action after a parent hurls racial slurs at players during a kids' soccer game. Leading housing starts.
I've never seen anyone achieving 213%, so you're the Ontario champs.
Windsor praised for its positive momentum in home construction. And historic donation.
Such a significant gift. It is breathtaking.
The new acute care hospital now with a new name.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening and thank you for joining us, and welcome to those listening on AM 800. Disturbing behavior on the sidelines. Parents hurling verbal abuse and racial slurs at young soccer players, some as young as 7. Parents now calling for action to protect the kids from toxic spectators. Bob Belichico kicks us off tonight. Bob.
Well, Stefanie, I spoke with a couple of parents who say they are looking for accountability tonight. One of those parents happens to be the coach of the team, who says she has called the Windsor Soccer Club a few times since the incident on the weekend and says she hasn't heard back from them yet.
I was really hoping I was wrong.
It was a hot summer day. A House League game for players aged 7 to 9 was underway at the Ford Test Track this past weekend. Alicia Colley heard a racial slur doled out by a parent of an opposing team.
Why can't people like that play properly in the heat? If they can't, then they shouldn't be playing.
Colley says the comments didn't stop.
Continuing on in the game, however, there are multiple other kids that are of color on the team, and anything that she had to say in any racial slur or comment slandering was towards a child of color.
Tiana Camiso and Aaliyah Heydus are members of the Sky Blue Windsor Soccer Club team and felt the negative energy on the field.
They're saying people who's black, saying there's something wrong with them being black. And it really hurted me. I didn't like it about, when the person said, I was red, and then, he said, stuff, rude and stuff, so that makes me weird and hurtful.
The Windsor Soccer Club offered this statement to CTV News today, saying, "We are aware of the incident involving parents that occurred during a recent 9-year-old girls' House League soccer game. Although we have not received an official complaint, Windsor Soccer Club takes allegations of inappropriate behavior very seriously. We are currently investigating the incident." Now, team coach Cassandra Camiso made numerous phone calls. She says she plans to lodge a formal complaint. She stopped the game because she felt the comments were getting out of hand.
My daughter said to me, "Mom, is there a problem that I'm black?" And when your kid says that to you, it's heartbreaking. So I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. Everybody round up.
They're all learning, and language like this and any kind of abuse, racial slurs is not tolerated at all, nor should it be, and it needs to be dealt with.
This incident was followed by another blow-up between two teams following a game at Micmac Park Monday night. A parent who did not want to appear on camera said a comment was misunderstood as being racist, contributing to a post-game flare-up.
We encourage people to bring those complaints forward so an independent body can assess the validity of their complaints.
Now, one of the parents tells me she's going to file a human rights complaint with the Ontario Soccer Association, who will then turn that over to a third-party investigator who will look into the situation, make a decision, and then share that with the Essex County Soccer Association. That whole process, Stefanie, could take months. Back over to you.
Okay, Bob Belichico tonight on this disturbing story. Thank you for this, Bob. So here's our question of the day. Have you encountered racism in sports? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday, we asked if you were surprised Windsor, Essex could be at risk of a wildfire. Out of almost 600 votes, 52% say yes, they are surprised. The Premier of Ontario was in Windsor today with a multi-million-dollar check rewarding the city for leading the province when it comes to housing starts, as ranked by a percentage increase last year. City officials say it's also a chance to push that momentum even further. CTV's Sanjay Maru joins us now with more on this tonight. Sanjay.
That's right, Stefanie. The province announcing more than $5 million for this city. It's money meant to speed up home construction, but the city says it will also help lay the groundwork for growth, from sewers and roads to other infrastructure, which can all make more housing possible. Premier Doug Ford visiting Windsor City Hall to deliver a $5.2 million check from the Building Faster Fund, a reward for the city achieving 213% of its 2024 housing target with more than 2,300 housing starts last year.
Matter of fact, I have to tell you, I've never seen anyone achieving 213%. So you're the Ontario champs.
The money is unlocked when municipalities hit at least 80% of their annual provincial housing target with a bonus for exceeding it. But how exactly will that money be used?
The focus is on infrastructure supports for additional housing and growth within communities. Things like roads, sewers, infrastructure that's required for additional housing growth.
Last year, Windsor missed out on these provincial funds after falling short of its 2023 target. City officials say a switch to a new permit system meant key data went unreported to the CMHC, but those units were later counted in 2024.
And that's why we exceeded our bonus. And that's why we got extra money above and beyond what we would have received.
Mayor Drew Dilkin says the city's housing performance last year was strong across multiple categories.
In 2024, Windsor's housing achievements included 2,306 housing starts total, including 1,251 housing starts, 466 additional residential units, and 589 post-secondary beds.
While Windsor is celebrating these provincial funds, city leaders did lose out on tens of millions in potential federal cash last year after rejecting a requirement in the Housing Accelerator Fund to allow fourplex zoning as of right. Premier Ford making clear today he supports Windsor's decision.
Stay strong with that, because I'll tell you, the people do not want that in their neighborhoods.
The city's plan for how this $5.2 million will be spent is due to the province in September. And when it comes to getting more provincial housing cash next year, CMHC shows Windsor's housing starts have cratered through the first 6 months of the year, down 61% across all housing types over the period. But the city contends these numbers are not a fulsome picture of its housing construction activity for 2025.
Okay, we will continue to follow this. Sanjay Mara tonight. Thank you for this. And earlier today, Doug Ford stopped by the future site of Windsor Essex's new acute care hospital for the renaming of the facility. The new name recognizes a generous donation from the estate of the late John Thomas Fancy.
I didn't realize I looked up to him more than anybody.
It was a shock to the whole family.
With dying suddenly, as he did, it really put a hole in our family. Large person, large heart.
My brother had the biggest passion for wine. He was the winemaker of Viewpoint.
He was a very loving parent to his dogs.
In his will, John Thomas Fancy left his estate to the new Windsor Essex Acute Care Hospital.
It's such a significant gift. It is breathtaking.
A gift worth an estimated $40 million. The Fancy family, along with Premier Doug Ford, Minister of Health Sylvia Jones, and local dignitaries, raised a glass to his life and legacy. That legacy soon to be permanently on display at the new multi-billion-dollar hospital. Moving forward, it will be referred to as the Fancy Family Hospital.
It speaks volumes to get a gift of this magnitude.
This donation is the largest ever received by the Windsor Regional Hospital Foundation.
Sometimes a lot of gifts are spread out over, say, a decade. This money's coming to the hospital now, so while we're doing the design and finishing the design and start building, we can even earn interest off this money.
So when will we see shovels in the ground at the intersection of Concession Road 9 and County Road 42? And when could we expect an opening date of the Fancy Family Hospital? We get into those details tomorrow night at 6. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins us now for a first look at the weather. And Gary, we're talking about potential thunderstorms on the way.
Thunderstorms. And earlier, while I was outside in the sweltering heat, I noticed what I've been talking about before, that the vegetation is stressed. Look at this, fall-like colors. Well, it's not because of fall-like conditions. We're talking about drought-like conditions and severe heat, turning the leaves orange and lime green and yellow, indicative of the situation we're in. And of course, thunderstorms earlier in Chatham elicited a severe weather warning, and we could be in for more of the same tonight it's all due to this cold front daytime heating and a very energized, warm, humid air mass. I'll break down what you need to know to see if this heat warning is extended beyond tomorrow. That's all coming up. For now, I'll send it back to you.
A Windsor man convicted of online harassment and producing child pornography was back in a London courtroom in regards to an intimidation charge over comments he made to a Crown lawyer. CTV's Nick Paparella has details from today's closing arguments.
As closing submissions are being made, 44-year-old Jason Nasser sat next to his lawyer wearing a COVID mask and taking notes. In January of 2023, the man who created Creeper Hunter TV, a website he claimed was intended to catch predators, was on trial and eventually convicted of harassment, extortion, and producing child pornography. It was at that trial that Nasser would be charged with intimidating a justice participant when, in a heated exchange, he told the court he knew the name of the Crown's child. In his closing, the Crown at the intimidation trial, Thomas Mack, said that Nasser was seething when he said the name, saying the only reason he made those comments at the time is with the intention of causing fear in the Crown to impede him during cross-examination. Mack said he should be found guilty because people know that Nasser is proficient online. He's adept at locating targets and he's able to intrude digitally into people's lives. And he's one who went to significant lengths to extort, harass, and shame his targets. Later, defense lawyer Ingrid Grant told the court the Crown hasn't proven its case because Nasser did not provoke fear or impede his earlier trial. She said the judge at the time cut him off and didn't let him complete his sentence after mentioning the child's name. Grant said Mr. Nasser gets angry. He's speaking off the cuff while he's upset. The judge is expected to hand down his decision on this latest case on Wednesday. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
OPP have charged a 42-year-old Windsor truck driver with being impaired after receiving numerous traffic complaints about a transport truck on the 401. Police say the vehicle was stopped just before 5 p.m. on Monday. The driver is facing several charges and had his license suspended for 90 days. A 23-year-old man is facing multiple charges after fleeing the scene of a crash in Windsor. Just after 8 p.m. on August 9th, police say a black Dodge Charger slammed into a utility pole and all 5 occupants in the vehicle fled on foot. Officers quickly located them, and the driver showed signs of impairment and failed a breath test. No one was injured in this collision, but the utility pole was severely damaged. Shortly after noon today, 3 pedestrians were struck by a vehicle. Police say the car was making a turn at the time, and the pedestrians suffered very minor injuries. They were, however, taken to hospital. The town of Amherstburg is ending all talks with the city of Windsor about renewing their policing agreement. The current deal, set to expire in late 2028, will not be extended. CTV's Chris Campbell joins us now with the latest on this tonight. Chris.
Yes, Stefanie, town officials say Windsor police are no longer an option for law enforcement in the community. The move comes after Windsor City Council rejected a key request from Amherstburg's mayor.
The announcement came during Monday night's council meeting. Mayor Michael Prue confirming Amherstburg is walking away from talks with Windsor Police.
There is no sense negotiating with Windsor when they are so intransigent that they won't let somebody from our town on that board.
Prue says talks ended when Windsor City Council voted against Amherstburg having a vote on any Windsor Police Board decisions.
I'm not surprised the way I have been, I wouldn't say mistreated, but the way I have been treated, you know, like just over there. You can't have copies of the agendas. You can't do this. You have to leave the room when we're discussing Amherstburg. It's just not right.
And I've already had some members reach out to me, obviously concerned, caused a little bit of stress and anxiety in people.
Windsor Police Association President Kent Rice says the decision is disheartening but not surprising. Hopeful talks can resume.
Hopefully, cooler heads and some resolution comes to fruition.
Windsor City Councillor Kieran McKenzie tells CTV News he thinks Amherstburg should have a representative on the board, but the decision is based on the province's governance rules. He says the province determines the makeup of the board.
If the rules were to change in terms of the framework of these boards by the province, because they're the governing authority, perhaps there could be opportunities to revisit that. But under the current framework, that's the circumstances of the law under which we're operating.
Amherstburg will now explore 3 other policing options: bringing back its own municipal force, partnering with LaSalle Police, or contracting the OPP.
Those are the 3 options we have left. We're still exercising those options, and so we're waiting to see how they pan out.
Windsor has been providing policing in Amherstburg since January 2019 under a 20-year deal. Earlier this year, the City of Windsor announced it would be ending that agreement due to rising costs.
Now, there's still no timeline for a final decision, but Amherstburg says it's aiming to have a plan in place well before the 2028 deadline. And Stefanie, officials say they'll keep the public updated as the process unfolds and as they move closer to choosing a new policing partner.
Okay, Chris Campbell tonight. Thank you for this, Chris. In other news, tensions continue in Chatham, Kent. It was standing room only at council last night for the debate over what to do with a homeless camp.
There's just a lot of frustration, frustration with our inaction to begin with. In the first emergency meeting, we didn't really accomplish anything. And of course, these are people's entire lives are at stake here, right?
More than 20 people spoke or sent in their thoughts, and council received 2 petitions concerning the Grand Avenue encampment in Chatham. One petition had over 800 signatures, while the other had more than 100. One called for action on the camp. The other urged council to protect the people living there. Many who took the podium live near the camp and want it removed entirely. Council was only considering a new bylaw to restrict and regulate encampments. After hours of debate, council voted one by one to approve every proposed bylaw change. That includes a 100-meter setback from homes and businesses. Administration says those new rules mean the only municipal land in Chatham that still meets the criteria for an encampment is the Thames Grove Conservation Area. While some hope the proposed changes could help relieve pressures on camp neighbors, others aren't convinced it will do much at all.
It's a Band-Aid. We actually, as an entire country, need to change our culture so that we don't have such a huge addiction, homelessness, mental health issue that we do. So we actually need to be treating these problems, not just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Tonight, Essex Town Council will decide the fate of a contentious wedding venue proposal. The town is holding a special meeting on the Hearn Hunting and Fishing Lodge's bid to rezone part of its property. The amendment would allow for up to 10 boutique weddings or events per year. But many neighbors say the events are too loud and disruptive for the agricultural area. The Hearns maintain they've worked with the town to comply with bylaws and warned of a potential Ontario Land Tribunal appeal if the application is denied. Still ahead on Windsor's News Leader, the latest in a disturbing investigation. Researchers accused of secretly performing painful tests on dogs and puppies. Another escalation in the trade dispute between China and Canada when we return, how it could impact our farmers. Premier Doug Ford says his government will bring in new legislation making medical testing on dogs illegal. As Rita Ismail reports, this comes in the wake of a healthcare scandal last week.
A decision to end dog testing at St. Joseph's Healthcare has animal advocates celebrating and asking what comes next.
Absolutely elated to learn that no more dogs will suffer and die in these cruel experiments at St. Joseph's. The experiments never should have happened in the first place.
Animal Justice, a Canadian animal law organization, says it was whistleblowers who first alerted them to what they were witnessing inside the hospital on the, quote, secret 6th floor.
What we found based on their information was dogs who were being induced with up to 3-hour heart attacks and then used in medical imaging studies and used in the same MRI machines that human patients at St. Joseph's were used in.
The fact that we are all grieving. After the news was made public last week, community outrage grew, including a protest over the weekend. And on Monday, the hospital responded. In a statement to CTV News, the hospital said the Government of Ontario is an important partner in every aspect of our work. Following consultations with the province, St. Joseph's will immediately cease research studies involving dogs. We acknowledge that this will have a significant impact on the groundbreaking research that has resulted in major strides in cardiac care and treatment.
I found out on social media, and I'm thinking that's pretty cruel.
Speaking at an event in Windsor today, Ontario Premier Doug Ford says he intends to pass legislation making dog testing illegal in the province.
I think we just legislate it and ban it. There's no reason we need to be using poor little dogs, right, or cats or anything like that. It's just unacceptable. It's cruel. It's inhumane.
Although pleased with the outcome, Animal Justice says other animals are still being used for experiments at the same hospital.
Pigs who are suffering in experiments as well, who have open wounds on their backs. And there are also rodents being used in tests at St. Joseph's. And I don't think that the public accepts any form of animal testing at a public hospital.
As for the dogs still at the facility, the Beagle Alliance, a national charity that rehomes animals from research labs, has reached out to help.
They're just very resilient and very forgiving towards the species that's actually harmed them. And that's why we really focus on getting them into foster homes and being cared for individually by the fosters and adopters.
Advocates say they'll continue pressing for change, both at the hospital and on Parliament Hill, pointing out that right now Canada has no law specifically overseeing animal testing in labs. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
China is escalating its trade dispute with Canada, and canola farmers are caught in the middle again. China announced massive anti-dumping duties in retaliation for Canada's tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
My farm is roughly half canola. So today is very devastating news, obviously, to me.
Andre Harp is one of 40,000 canola farmers in Canada who woke up to the news that China was imposing a 75.8% duty on the oilseed. Canola prices dropped $1 a bushel after the anti-dumping tariff was announced. More bad news for an industry contending with drought just weeks away from harvest.
Not only are we facing a yield loss, but at the same time, obviously now we're facing an income loss for whatever we do grow. So it's, right now this could be a double whammy.
In 2024, Canada exported $5 billion of canola to China. To justify its actions, China said that after conducting an investigation, it found that Canada was providing its farmers with unfair subsidies. This escalation has its roots in the former Liberal government's decision to impose tariffs on electric vehicles.
We will be introducing a 100% tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles.
The previous government in Ottawa had done this to align its policy on China with that of Washington, but we didn't get any brownie points.
The canola industry generates more than $40 billion annually and employs 200,000 people. Saskatchewan's premier says that's bigger than the steel, aluminum, and auto industry combined.
Canola producers hit with these Chinese tariffs, I would say that they deserve the same attention by our federal government and our prime minister as we're seeing in other industries.
To improve the Canada-China trading relationship, Premier Mo says that the Prime Minister needs to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping as soon as possible. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Perseid meteor shower is one of the best meteor showers of the year, and it is peaking tonight. In previous years, the meteor shower has produced around 40 to 50 visible meteors each hour, but this year stargazers aren't likely to see as many. That's because the meteor shower is occurring shortly after August's full moon. Light from the moon will make meteor spotting a little more difficult. Experts say you can expect to see around 10 to 20 meteors per hour. Point Pelee is hosting a special watch party.
Unfortunately, the moon comes up about quarter after
10, and it's going to be about 90% illuminated. So the best viewing time is probably between about 8:30 and 10:30 tonight, even though the peak of the meteors will be in the wee hours of the morning between about 3 and 5 a.m.
Coast Guards on both sides of the border are warning people not to take part in this weekend's Port Huron float down. The event is set for Sunday afternoon on the St. Clair River. Officials say it does pose serious dangers to those in the water. Transport Canada is restricting all boats and other vessels. People from both sides of the borders use small flotation devices to float down from Lake Huron. Now it's a summertime favorite for car lovers. The Olette Car Cruise returns this Friday. Street rods, muscle cars, vintage, classic, and custom cars all on display at the Riverfront Festival Plaza. The event begins at 1 p.m. Then at 6, the famous car cruise touring the city. The Olette Car Cruise builds on the nostalgia of Windsor's storied automotive history. Former CTV News anchor Jim Crichton has participated in this event for many years.
People who have classics like to drive them, but a lot of people don't have the time or the resources. And with the weather we've had lately, they don't want to be out in a classic car without air conditioning on a 95 Fahrenheit day with a humidex. We understand that very well. So these cars may come out for that cruise and then be put away till the next cruise night.
Canada's main stock index advanced on strength in the real estate and financial sectors. In Toronto, the TSX gained 146 points. In New York, the Dow added 484, the Nasdaq up 297. The Canadian dollar gained 0.06 cents. On commodity markets, gold lost $5.70 an ounce and oil fell 79 cents a barrel. RSV alert. It's the leading cause of infant hospitalizations and can leave permanent effects. Coming up, how to protect your child.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Mark Hewer for this great nighttime image. Just ahead, will thunderstorms threatened through the overnight? Will the heat continue to be oppressive? Find out next.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
Gorgeous flowers out there, but sweltering hot. Gary joins me again for an extended look tonight. Gary.
Those gorgeous flowers are beautiful, but wilting in the heat. The heat warning is likely to be extended into Wednesday. That's my guess. We are in it right now. Temperature several degrees above seasonal. It encompasses southern Ontario proper. Reached a high of about 33. Our average is 27. So you get the idea. 6 degrees above seasonal. By the way, our low is closer to 16.5, 17 degrees. And we've been seeing lows of late in the low 20s, feeling like about 28 to 30. Speaking of the 30s, we're about 31 in Chatham-Kent. That's 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Steamy in Windsor at the airport, 32. That's 90. Factor in the humidity. Relative humidity is fluctuated in Windsor at the airport, 75 to 83%. It feels like 41 because of that humidity. Chatham-Kent feels like 40. It is blazing hot across the southern tier of the province. The eastern flank of the country is even warmer. Montrealers are looking at 34 as your core temperature, feeling like about 42. We're warm in the Maritimes in Atlantic Canada. Meanwhile, we've cooled off across the prairie provinces. The winds have picked up, and it looks like we'll see gusts in that 30 to 40 range tonight. That could help ease things and at least keep the pollutants from stagnating the air mass at the surface, and that certainly has been an issue of late. A stagnant air mass leads to air quality concerns. A line of storms. We saw it in Chatham-Kent, 12:45, 1 o'clock. A warning was in place from Environment Canada Canada for severe thunderstorm activity. 2 successive waves continue to move and march through this late afternoon, early evening, right across Michigan, headed into southern Ontario. The worst of it's likely to hit the eastern shores of Lake Huron, Tobermory, Wyerton, Owen Sound, getting into it. Meanwhile, we could still see scattered effects. If you live in Sarnia, by the way, that's 45 to 50 millimeters, a significant event. Tonight, still about a 30% chance of showers and or thunderstorm activity from 8 through to midnight and beyond. Even at midnight, 23 feels like 32. Showers tomorrow, similar forecast, 30, 28, 30, and 32. Sunny Thursday through Saturday. Still warm. Maybe not criteria to be in the warning, but warm enough. Showers and cooler as we head towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
Health officials are calling for more access to RSV immunizations as respiratory virus season gets underway. With more on their concerns, here's CTV's Pauline Chan.
Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is the leading cause of infant hospitalizations in Ontario, with 1 in 50 babies affected in their first year.
The issue of RSV and raising awareness is so important because of what we went through with Willa.
That was in 2023, before immunizations against RSV were available in Canada.
The emotional trauma of seeing your 2-month-old be hooked up to all these machines. She was sick for about 2 weeks. We were in the hospital for 4 days. Then I would say it took a couple more weeks for her to start getting back to herself.
We don't have an antiviral drug. What we do is what we call supportive therapy, so oxygen, IV fluids.
Dr. Vivian Brown says RSV is a very common virus that can affect any baby.
The number one risk is no risk. We see it in normal, healthy babies. We see RSV throughout the year, but predominantly around October through March. But a couple of years ago, the Children's Hospital in Eastern Ottawa had an overflow of RSV cases in August.
The majority of infants recover, but it can leave permanent effects.
Every time she gets any sort of respiratory illness, it takes a really long time for her to recover. And I think that can be correlated to her experiencing RSV.
Right now, Ontario is the only province covering both the vaccine Abrysvo, offered late in pregnancy to protect newborns, as well as antibodies called Beyfortus, given to infants.
If they had been available, I would definitely have opted in to having the vaccine prior to giving birth to her.
The Federation of Medical Women of Canada is urging all provinces and territories to follow Ontario's example, but even in Ontario, many families aren't aware that this protection against RSV is available. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
See if you can see that.
Stay out of the woods. Coming up on Windsor's News Leader, the message on the East Coast that has some facing huge fines.
Acclaimed comedian Jerry D is bringing the laughs to the Coliseum stage on his Funny You Should Say That tour Friday, October 17th. Enter online at ctvwindsor.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Jerry D at Caesars Windsor, plus a $250 gift card.
The decisions by 2 provinces in Atlantic Canada to prohibit people from walking through the woods during this wildfire season is sparking anger. CTV's Judy Trin explains why some say the ban is an overreach.
Much of Atlantic Canada is a tinderbox. New Brunswick is the 2nd province after Nova Scotia to ban people from force on public land.
What do you make of it? Sad, but it's the wise thing to do.
We're telling Nova Scotians, stay out of the woods.
Less than a week after Nova Scotia put in its restrictions, the ban is being challenged.
Walking in the woods.
Jeff Evely deliberately broke the law in protest and posted it on social media. The former soldier told provincial forestry officers ahead of time that he was going to walk through the woods. Then he was issued a ticket.
Let me see if we can see that.
Evely says the fine for more than $28,000 violates his constitutional rights.
It needs to be minimally impairing and logically connected to the goal. And so my sneakers do not give off sparks.
In Nova Scotia, most fires are started by people. So far, the Ministry of Natural Resources has ticketed 6 people for going into the woods. The province says this year's conditions are similar to 2023, when wildfires forced 16,000 Halifax residents to flee.
It's just so dry right now with people in the more people that are in the woods, the more likelihood we're going to have a fire.
Back in New Brunswick, government officials say the ban ensures emergency resources are directed where they are needed the most.
We're asking you to make the safe choice for our first responders, for your neighbors, and for our woods.
Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland are still allowing people into the forest, but have increased the penalties for violating the fire ban. Fines are now upwards of $50,000. And in Newfoundland, a violation could result in a 1-year jail sentence. Judy Trin, CTV News.
A warning now about clicking unsolicited links texted from unknown numbers. As Pat Thorne reports, 2 people recently had their bank accounts hacked, each losing more than $20,000.
Just be careful.
Christina Petrozelli of Mississauga got a link that said she had to click on it to decline a purchase. Concerned she was being scammed, she did, but it led to her being hacked and her bank account being taken over.
I clicked decline, and I guess that's where the scam was, because me clicking decline was them having access to my account.
Petrozelli was scammed out of just over $22,000. Her bank is RBC, and she was shocked to be told because she had granted the scammers access to her account, she won't be reimbursed.
I have feelings, and I have people that rely on me, and you're taking everything that I had, and I didn't do it.
A spokesperson for RBC told CTV News, "We are unable to share details. However, RBC will never ask you to download a remote access application."
I clicked the link and I updated my information. And then the next thing you know, my phone stopped working.
Christy Seymour of Oshawa also clicked on a link she thought was updating her credit card. Her phone was hacked and scammers got into her account and stole almost $29,000. She had called Wealthsimple for 3 days to block her account, but couldn't get through.
That was all of the money I've saved my entire life, and it's just gone, and they're not taking any responsibility for their part of the problem.
Wealthsimple told Seymour, your account appears to have been accessed by an individual to whom you've authorized via a phishing scam.
They're getting more and more targeted, more personalized, and more sophisticated.
Cybersecurity experts say everyone should be using dual-factor authentication to add another layer of protection and be cautious of all links you receive.
The 3 things that they're counting on are surprise, urgency, and that need to respond.
After CTV News contacted Wealthsimple, they reviewed Seymour's case and said, as a gesture of goodwill, we have reimbursed the losses she experienced while trying to contact our team. She was given a full refund of almost $29,000, which was great news for her. Pat Foran, CTV News.
A major announcement from Taylor Swift this morning that has sent fans and the internet into a frenzy beyond their wildest dreams.
So I wanted to show you something.
Okay, what do we got?
We got
a briefcase.
Yep.
Mint green with TS on it.
Yep.
What's in it?
This is my brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl.
The singer announcing her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, on her boyfriend Travis Kelce's podcast, co-hosted by his brother Jason. Rumors had been swirling after the singer started posting some cryptic messages on social media. This is Swift's 12th studio album, and she made the announcement official at 12:12 on the 12th of August. No official release date has been issued. Now, we want to hear from you. Text your comments or questions to 10400. You can also send photos and videos for stories you think we should cover.
Unscripted, unpredictable, and unapologetic. Wake up with Hannah and Johnny on 93.9 Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Windsor, our community calendar. On Saturday, August 16th, join in on the fun at Burt Weeks Garden for the Tim Hortons Night Run for Maryvale, presented by the Running Factory. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kettner. And Melanie, you've got details on a strike authorization vote at the University of Windsor.
That's right. Unifor Local 444 is holding the vote this week for special constables at the university. According to a social media post from the union, the vote will take place through Zoom at Friday at 10 a.m. The union represents 26 special constables at the university. The current collective agreement expires at the end of August. We've got those details in our web story at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we also have an article for anyone who has electronic waste that they do want to get rid of.
Yes, Caesars Windsor is acting as a drop-off location for e-waste. You can take electronics to the gated parking lot near the casino at 250 Windsor Ave tomorrow. There will be large bins on site to accommodate items of all sizes. The collection is being held in partnership with Habitat for Humanity. You can find drop-off details online. And in our social spotlight tonight, when you're not into the cruise dance at dinner. Wow, these guys are looking more like the fun police. Crew members often do these dances in the dining rooms, but usually the travelers like it a lot more than this, Stephanie.
Yeah, they are not having fun. If you are not a fan of dancing, being on a cruise ship and doing it where you don't know anyone is an absolute must. So too bad these guys didn't want to take part.
I know. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Okay, thank you. And that's what's happening now. 2 orphaned cougar cubs rescued from the wilds of Alberta are now turning heads and capturing hearts in Quebec. Their rare journey when we return.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor, Essex.
Only on Windsor, Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
Gary, I know we're talking about thunderstorms, but it took maybe 30 seconds before beads of sweat came down my face today after being outside.
It was tough being outside. You're right about that. Stephanie, more of the same tonight. Even the low early tomorrow morning before dawn of about 22 degrees will feel like 29 to 30. It will feel like the daytime and will still be quite sultry through the next couple of days. In fact, we are sunny. I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it will still feel like 35 plus. Tomorrow, it's going to be a carbon copy just like today. Low 30s across southwestern Ontario, feeling close to 40, high UV index and sweltering conditions. The heat warning is still technically in place. It could be extended.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Ricardo, a busy night tonight?
Yeah, we're expecting a decision from Essex Council staff in a contentious zoning decision in the Harrow area. A special meeting tonight aims to deal with a rezoning bid from the Hearn Hunting and Fishing Lodge Group to allow up to 10 boutique weddings or events per year between May and October. And those would be capped at 200 guests. Now, neighbors have opposed the plan, raising concerns about noise and agriculture disruption. There's been a deferral and a public meeting on this file already. Our Travis Fortnum is in attendance for that meeting underway this evening, and we'll have the very latest tonight coming up at 11. Steph.
Okay, thank you. Now, 2 orphaned cougar cubs from Alberta are getting a fresh start, this time in Quebec. The young pair lost their mother earlier this year. Now, as CTV's Christine Long reports, they found a new home at a Quebec zoo.
In February of this year in Alberta, a mother cougar was shot, leaving behind her babies, says Park Safari CEO Serge Lucier.
Out in the wild, they will die. They can't survive. I have 2 options. The provincial law says animals from the wild that cannot survive can be placed in an accredited zoological institution, CASA, for instance, as we are, or euthanized. We don't want to euthanize them.
He called on the Calgary and Vancouver zoos to hold the cubs while Park Safari revamped an enclosure for the siblings, who seem to be settling in, says Lucier.
Female, a little more shy. Her security is her brother. That will change in time, right? That will change in time.
He adds that cougars are not an endangered species, yet certainly more rare than they used to be.
There used to be cougars all over eastern Canada. There's none in Ontario or Quebec. There's none east. There's none in eastern United States anymore. They used to be all over, right? Only out west. But let's protect what's left.
Park Safari has a naming contest for the 2 new residents to encourage families to get involved and learn more about these big, beautiful cats.
Let's be aware that our backyard, our beautiful Canada, needs to be protected.
Park Safari is open 12 months a year for visits, but nap time on a hot day means these cubs are usually just chilling. Christine Long, CTV News.
Big, beautiful cats, a lovely way to describe them.
I always wanted to be a zoologist before meteorology, obviously.
Obviously.
And I wanted to study the big cats. I've been fascinated since I was a kid. Mountain lions are truly one of the special gems we have here in Canada.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Great to see they're adapting well. They just got to learn French now.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Alberta to Quebec, you know, you got a cultural exchange.
Yeah, that's for sure. On behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And I'll see you again tonight at 11 for your only late look at local news.
Good night.
Good night.